What's up, everybody? This is my review of Final Destination Bloodlines. This was a fun movie. I had such a great time. Now, just for a little bit of context, I was in college when the Final Destination series began, and from Jump Street, I thought it was such a great premise. Because even like when I was a kid in the 80s, you had Halloween, you had Friday the 13th, you had Nightmare on Elm Street. So there was always this, how do we bring the bad guy back for the sequel? And there are so many sequels. And even though, you kind of just went with it, you suspend your disbelief for a hot second, but when the movie was over, you're like, okay, how are they going to bring him back again? And so instead of just enjoying the movie for what it is, you're thinking about this other thing, which kind of just takes you out of it. And with the Final Destination series, the villain is death. You can't kill the villain. You can maybe outsmart him, which is kind of like what the first one and all the way up to the fifth one, how are the people going to outsmart death? And so I really, really enjoyed that aspect of the storytelling. I also really enjoyed how creative, I mean, this kind of sounds a bit morbid, but I love how creative the deaths became. And on top of that, I really love the suspense that was built up before the death. And so it really subverts the audience in great ways where, okay, you see the thing, and then you see how you kind of put the pieces together and you're like, okay, I think I know this is how it's going to happen. And it is just so much more outrageous and over the top than you imagine, at least for me. So that was always a fun aspect of it, going into all of the sequels. Another thing that I really, really appreciated from a storytelling aspect is that you cared about the characters and whether or not they were going to live. So while there were at times as it got to, four and five, where the sequel, those movies, like, it just kind of became like, okay, how is this person going to die? Which I think is why my interest waned so much. Um, but with especially the first three, and especially with Bloodlines, they did a great job as to making you care about the characters and the fact that, oh my God, they're gonna get it now, while at the same time having this great build up and suspense to when it was gonna happen, and then how shocking it is when it actually does. You need those two components for this movie to work. And I get the feeling that the directors of Bloodlines, I feel like they were fans. That's kind of the sense I got after the movie was over. I'm like, they grew up watching this and, they became filmmakers and they were like, you know what, I got an idea and I think I know how to do it. They kept all of the components, the important components of what made this franchise work in the beginning, and then of course bring it up, to a modern audience. So I really, really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the premise of, okay, here is this woman that avoided death in the beginning, and it's a great prologue. It's one, it's almost like, I thought of James Bond because that's what James Bond is known for, the overture to the movie. And it was great. It was suspenseful. It was well executed. It was exciting. The Space Needle, kind of, quote unquote, and the explosion and how it all unfolds. But I thought it was really great what they decided to do with, okay, this woman cheated death. So technically, not only is she not supposed to be around, but neither are her children and her grandchildren. So now death is coming for everybody, to kind of right the wrong or whatever the case may be. So I thought that was really interesting. The only thing that sometimes I was thinking about this after the fact. So at least it wasn't disposable. The movie didn't just end and I enjoyed it for the moment and then just forgot about it when it was over. But I kept thinking about it, and maybe it's too much of a plot hole. I'm like, okay, so what's the timeline? When does Death figure out that, oh, I've been duped? And so now I come back because it's not like in the first few where, okay, these people avoided death, so I'm gonna try and get at them as soon as I can. Um, Generations, decades have passed, so it's like, what were you doing? You know what I mean? So that kind of question came up to mind. But having said that, it was just fun. It was a good, fun time, and this was one of the things that I'm really appreciating about the movies that I'm watching these days is that they're just fun. They're a great time. You know, there's no message that is smack dab in your face. There's no agendas. There's no political commentary. Not that those things are bad, but first and foremost, anytime you go and watch a movie, you just want to be entertained. And then maybe, you get some drops here and there uh, of some bigger idea. And when it's done great, you get classics, you know? But for me, at least the minimum requirement is that I just have a good time. And I don't think I'm any different than anybody else that goes to watch a movie. I just want to enjoy it for the 2 hours that I'm there and maybe talk about it with some friends and about what I enjoyed the most. I don't think anybody really wants to go watch a movie and complain about it. They want to go and feel like they didn't waste their time. And I did not feel that at all. It was fun. It was exciting. There was the whole range of emotion. There was dread. There was relief. And in the end, satisfaction at the end because I didn't feel like I wasted my money or my time. Anyways, what about you? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button. Give me a follow. And I'll see you guys next time.